I am Ayo Solanke, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press today. I am so happy to be joined by Ayo Solanke. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. And I'm so excited to dive into a couple of exciting projects for you. But to start off, what can you share about your background in the arts and what sparked that passion in you?
So I was raised in England. So I started out with my brother just doing, outside extracurricular theater. We started out doing musical theater and weren't really taking it too seriously. It was kind of just like a passion, it was an outlet for both of us to just, be free and just be silly little kids. But yeah, we both just kept pursuing that and pursuing it in a way of like hobby and stuff, but we kept doing it all the way till we came to Canada about 9 years ago now. So yeah, and then we he kind of strayed away from it a little bit, but I guess I just always had a love for it. It was mainly theater that was my interest, but I kind of got into film and TV about 7 years ago. So which was like a whole nother outlet, but it was just as satisfying. It's a really strong connection that we have to that.
You caught that acting bug and it's like you couldn't kick it, right? You had to like continue on pursuing it.
Couldn't kick
And
it.
as long as you're enjoying it and having fun, that's the important part. Uh,
Exactly,
who
yeah.
who are some key acting inspirations for you?
Oh my goodness. Denzel Washington, of course, Jake Gyllenhaal. I was trying to see their play I was just in New York. I could have seen Othello, but I was too busy, unfortunately. But Viola Davis, the greats, and yeah, there's so many, even up and coming like Damson Idris. Um, there's so many people that I admire who are just doing great stuff in the industry. Daniel Kaluuya, people that really have performances that pioneered their genre in a way. So yeah, I always look up to that.
So you mentioned growing up in the UK. You were born in
Mm.
Nigeria. You moved to Canada age 13. How have your upbringing and the places you've been shaped you?
That's a good question. I mean, of course, this accent, just stuck with that. But I'd say London, it's more, of course, it's more of a theatrical um place. The training there is there's a lot of theatrical training and the training style is just it's very different than North America, right? So growing up with that and um being able to learn in that way and also learn in this like North American way and like kind of combining that together, creating something that works with me, having both sides. I feel like that really helped me, and I feel in England it's just they don't dwell too much on like the film and TV, side of acting. It's there, but it's not really a focal point for them. It's I guess it's because they might believe that acting is not or film and TV is not an actor's medium. It's more of like a director's medium and editors, right? But theater is an actor's medium, so really getting to play with that was cool.
It's really neat to kind of look back at your past and, like you mentioned, kind of bridging the gap between the different maybe training and classes that you've taken over the years in these different countries. We'll get into Bet Now, where you star as Ryan. This is a series, of course, based off the Japanese manga Kakegurui. What can you share about your audition process and what you were told about the show and the character you were auditioning for?
I had no idea what this show was or who I was auditioning for. They changed all the names. I auditioned for a guy called Harry, right? That was Ryan. And I also auditioned for Hunter's character, Michael, who was what was his name? I think it was Mike in the audition or something like that. But yeah, it was I remember it just being fun, and I was playing with it more than I usually would with other auditions. Like I remember it being it wasn't too hard. It was just more like, oh, let me this is a school of the global elite, right? So let me tap into like my British like elements, and let me really make this character my own, and give him you know foreign mannerisms, and try and just like make this character feel like a human being, and feel like he's really going through all the things that is written on the page. So yeah, it was really fun.
Do you remember what scene that was part of your audition?
Yeah, I remember it was I was in the cafeteria with Mary and Yumeko. So this was right when Mary became my house pet. And then I was like she was trying to get me to give her permission to sit down. That was one of the scenes. And there was another scene where I believe this is episode 8, or no, episode 7, where I was helping. No, this is episode 8. Never mind. I was helping Dorian's character. Like we were trapped in a room, and then I was like, trying to reassure his character, and help him not get stressed out. It was funny because that scene, they combined everyone's dialogue and just put it on Harry and the other character, Justin, in the audition. So of course, seeing it on Netflix is, there's Yumeko's there, Mary's there, Michael. So yeah, it was really fun.
It's always cool to see the final product because I heard that from a couple of your co-stars as well, how their audition scenes were kind of, reworked obviously in the scripts before filming. But Ryan is kind of inspired by the manga character Ryota. So after you were cast, how much research did you do with the source material, and what specific elements, if any, did you draw inspiration from?
Yeah, wiki fandom was my best friend, and reading the manga too, because this is inspired by the manga and not the anime. We watched the anime too, but yeah, I was mostly trying to pick up on um different mannerisms that he had, and why he had them, and what really made him him. Why he was in a shell, why he's shy, um and what kind of brings that out, and lets him grow. So I just like really diving into the whys was what helped me.
In terms of the whys and motivations, I think that he kind of falls along the same vein as being very kind and being very risk averse as well, and we kind of see those shades throughout the manga. Are there any other fictional characters or performances that helped you in shaping Ryan?
Yeah, definitely. I will say Han Solo. Star Wars. His character growth. Um, you know, starting out a humble man, and turning into quite the opposite. And seeing that journey and that growth, and trying to apply a similar thing to Ryan. Of course they didn't go through the same things, but it's kind of that um the I find that life has like a repetition in, just the fundamentals of why something happens. So it's like different circumstances for, Han Solo or Ryan, but like they grow, for the same reason. And they trying to really allow Ryan to reach that the place where I feel like Yumeko really helped him, in that whole growth and in that in his whole character development, and so starting out without Yumeko and then starting out with Yumeko and just like building the building blocks to be able to grow and get there.
There's definitely that trajectory in self-growth. And like you mentioned, there's so many different factors as well. Yumiko was such a driving force in Ryan's character throughout the season. Can you share some insight into any backstory or childhood you created for Ryan or discussed with others and how it impacted who he is in present day?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot to do with his mom and dad, right? Of course, in the show there was this rumor that he killed his father, right? So we talked about this on set, but it's kind of an unknown thing. Like we're not really supposed to have the answer, right? But what I gave myself was that, he didn't have the best relationship with his father, and he wasn't really able to gain that confidence in in his home. And that's why he's, kind of the way he is. Like it, it boils down to childhood and his upgrowing and now being at this, school where he can't really defend himself because he's never really had someone that's been able to, uplift him or show him that it's possible to, be yourself and be like unapologetic about that, so yeah, before Yumiko comes, that's why he is kind of the way he is.
I like that you addressed the fact that the rumor around the school is that he killed his father, and you still don't have the answers for that because that was going to be one of my questions. Like, is there any truth to that? Because it's kind of hinted that, like you mentioned, it circles back to maybe a bit of a dark, traumatic past for him, but we don't know where his mother is or what happened to his father. So hopefully, maybe that will be explored in the future.
Hopefully, hopefully, yeah.
It is constantly mentioned his loser social status. Was that something that you also thought about a lot with this character? Because you can see it really strikes him and affects how he sees himself throughout the season, at least at the beginning.
It definitely affected him. And of course, before Mary came to, do his whole little revamp, um, yeah, he was a house pet before, so he's kind of used to that, humiliation and everything. But this was like a whole different level, and this was like, oh, they're really like seeing me this way. This isn't just like it's not just like being a house pet. It's not just institutionalized. Like these guys, like they're calling me a loser, and they're really seeing me in such a bad light. So that affected him differently than it would affect him being a house pet, So that's why that's why he was on board to, do the revamp with Mary and really get out of that.
I really thought it was hard to watch because when it strikes him again later on when Kira says he's a distraction and that kind of cycles back to him being in the past again like I'm that dead weight and I'm holding Yumiko back and yeah, we'll talk about some of those specific scenes a bit later on, but in your opinion, what are Ryan's primary intentions and goals? Like what does he see as a future for himself?
Yeah, his intentions change, throughout the season, or they grow rather. Initially, he wants to survive the school. He's there. He doesn't really want any problems. He's looking out for himself, but he doesn't really know how to, So he's really just trying to keep his head down and survive. But then, once Yumiko comes, he's trying to do the same thing, but for her as well. Seeing that she's so different from everyone at the school, and and that's what sparked his interest in her. She was enigmatic and so different, and he saw a bit of himself in her as well, or at least a potential what he could be. So he tried to. He was he projected how he felt or how he wanted to protect himself towards her as well.
Which was your favorite scene in season one to film and why?
Oh my goodness, there was so many. Um, man, the running scene at the in episode 9, running away from all the staff with the money taped to my mouth. That was quite fun. That was quite fun. And man, there was so many. Of course, the dancing. The dancing was really fun, and doing the rehearsals of that. And yeah, there were a lot of physical attributes.
For sure. And the dancing kind of took me by surprise. So before we get into that, you mentioned him maybe projecting some feelings and what he kind of hopes to be and hopes to feel onto Yumeko upon her arrival. Was there a lot of like romantic interest there? Like how much would you say is maybe aspirational versus romantic? Because we see in the show like, his the crush meter goes up and things like that. So how did
Mhm.
you really kind of see their relationship and is there potential there?
Yeah. It's both. Of course, initially seeing her, walking down, beautiful Yumeko just, in the spotlight. Of course, he has a crush. He just, the crush meter goes up. He's seeing someone that he really thinks is attractive. And but the more he's with her, the more he spends time with her, it changes from just like a simple, fleeting um attraction to oh, like I actually like this girl, and there's something deeper.
It's kind of painful to watch her be so emotionally unavailable to him throughout the season and the scenes that they share. Do you think he feels a sense of debt to her because she helped him get out of house pet status? Like, why does he feel that need to protect her as well, despite her reluctancy to share her past and her true intentions at St. Dom's with Ryan?
Yeah, he sees a good in her. He sees her in a way that nobody else really does. And so he tries to protect that, and he tries to really help her. It's I always like on set, I always thought back to, Avatar and hearing Jake say to Neytiri, I see you, so it was kind of that same like I see you for Yumiko as well. So that's why I feel like he fights for her so much.
So you mentioned the dancing. So did you perform your own dancing in both the What Is Love solo and the Take My Breath Away? And how much of it was you versus any kind of like other possible stunt or choreographer?
So I did do rehearsals for a while, and I'm not a dancer, right? I don't come from a dancing background, despite musical theater. Um, but yeah, I had a lovely dance double named Percy. However, I we did both have to do the full choreography. So they filmed me doing it all the way through, and they filmed him doing it all the way through as well. So everything you see is me besides like the crazy flips and the splits. That my I ain't flexible like that, but he got that in the bag.
So it's a nice little collaboration
It
between
was a
the
nice,
two
it was
of
a
you.
nice
Yeah.
collab. It was a nice collab.
How about the dancing like with Ryan and Yumiko behind the screen? Because we do obviously get the
Mm.
close-ups of the two of you, but then there's also a lot of like kind of
Yeah,
spins and moves that we only see behind the veil.
right. So yeah, behind the veil again, it's Percy and Jordan. But everything that you're seeing um well, I guess no, behind the veil, which is, when you're seeing us dance, of course it's us, and we did the whole choreo. But when you're just seeing like the silhouette, it's Percy and Jordan. Yeah, our lovely dance doubles.
Fantastic dancers. And how long were you kind of in rehearsals for though, for learning the different sequences that you would be close up on?
That one, I think we were in rehearsals for about two 2 weeks for that one, a week to 2 weeks for the Met Gala dance, but the uh the dance where I'm in episode 3, that one was in rehearsals for about a month. Yeah,
It was quite a long sequence. Was it fun to explore this
pretty
artistic
long.
side of your character?
It was, even being that his parents put him in dance classes when he was a kid, so I had to look like my parents put me in dance classes when I was a kid. So yeah, it was really fun exploring your character in a physical sense too.
I'm sure the commitment was very appreciated. And episode 4 saw a side bet placed on Ryan to lose his virginity, and he has many opportunities to do that with other students, as well as the object of his affection in Yumeko, who he turns down. Can you take me through that decision for him?
Yeah, it was a hard decision just as much as it was an easy decision as well. Because this was after the revamp, of course, right? So he got more confidence for himself. He's been with Yumeko for um quite some time now. And I think through that he was also able to have backbone, and he respects Yumeko. He really cares about her. But now you're really seeing that he respects himself as well, and he really cares about himself, and you know, he won't compromise that, not even for her. And yeah, so it was a hard decision because, there's the person you want, everything you've ever wanted, just like, standing right in front of you. But to compromise your own values, your own self-respect is something that he wouldn't do. And I feel like it was that scene was more than just about him and her. It was a lesson about just life as well. Just because that thing is, something is, it may look nice, it may look attractive, just being right in front of you, but is it really right? Is this the right time? Are you gonna are you gonna compromise everything for this? So yeah.
That's so well said. And you could see throughout, the whole episode, he's really dealing with balancing the peer pressure, embarrassment. He gets embarrassed like from other students throughout and that desire, but he is like a really honest guy. And you could feel like his heart break when he asks if she's there for the bet and she's like, why else would I be here? I thought you played those scenes so perfectly that just like that whole sullen look and she could tell almost you could see her tell in that moment too like there was sadness for Yumeko as well, so was that an interesting scene to play opposite Miku?
It was such a beautiful scene to play and opposite her, and she did such a fantastic job, and she made it possible for me to get there. um but yeah, it was, that's why you mentioning that she was also sad as well, because I don't think, I think she clocked it and she didn't want to do that to him too. So when she was walking away, that last call of Yumiko, it was because he saw that as well, and yeah, it was a really beautiful scene to play.
Yeah, because she doesn't let her guard down too
Yeah,
often throughout
yeah.
the season. So at the school dance, another very emotional moment. They're forced into a game by Suki. Take me through filming that scene where there's high stakes on the line for Ryan, possibly a return to house pet status.
Yeah, it was are you talking about the Met Gala or the Met Gala? Okay, yeah. There was again, he knows how it feels, to be a house pet and to be humiliated. And after the loser thing. So he really knows how it feels, so he doesn't want Yumiko to feel that, of course. And he'll he'll do anything to let that not happen. So he just knew what it entailed, and he knew what was going to happen, and he tried to stop that. He tried to, he really tried to understand too, because he didn't know why she was doing what she was doing, like why this was so important. There was a missing piece for him that I feel like he was trying to, catch, but he couldn't really. So that's where that, frustration also came from. Because he's saying like, you don't have to do this. Like, this isn't this isn't right.
It must always be hard for Ryan because, like you mentioned, there's a missing piece of the puzzle for him, and he can't seem to earn that trust that he, so desperately, and he's proven to her time and time again that he's someone that can be there for her.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is episode 6, so he's been with her for some time, and he supported her, and he just wants to he just wants her to trust him.
I love the shot in that during that Met Gala during the game where it's just the two of them and the room is filled, but it's just the two of them, and they share that moment where they reaffirm that they don't want to hurt each other, or he doesn't want to hurt her. She's like, I know, and he ends up winning. So was he genuinely trying? He was genuinely trying to lose.
He was genuinely trying to lose because he would rather be a house pet than her. He's been through it. It's just going back to the roots at this point. But
What a guy.
what a guy, right? Yeah, he was trying to save her from a whole lot of humiliation.
And then, of course, we circle back to that moment I referenced earlier where he wants to step in and help her, but Kira comes in and plants that seed that it was your fault, you're the jinx. Throughout the
Right.
season, we do see Ryan and Mary share this tumultuous, almost frenemy relationship. Does Ryan have a feeling he knows who the real Mary is, or is there always a sense that he is being played by her?
Yeah, yeah, he knows who the he has a hunch about who the real Mary is, and they're not really vocal about it, of course, but there was a line I don't think is in it, but that they removed, but the line was um you're just something about her putting on a facade and being mean um as like a mask or a personality, but and so he really sees her too, he sees her for who she is, and that's why I feel like he kind of puts up with her as well, because he knows that she's not just genuinely a mean person.
There were some downright cruel moments when he was Mary's house pet. But when they banter, it's very much like brother and sister. I love the moment where they both kind of shoot their shot at Yumeko going to the dance. You probably just saw it recently, and he's like, "You struck out too," and she's like, "Well, at least I took a shot." But her getting Ryan the birthday cupcake, that was a really sweet moment for the pair.
That was a really sweet moment. And there was a tiny bit of banter in that scene too. And yeah, that scene was so hot. I love the way they edited it, and the music. Music, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The music added to the scenes so much. And of course you don't know what's being, played on the day. We don't have anything, but it really elevated the feeling that you get from the scene.
Ryan and Yumiko share an intimate moment of understanding at the end of episode 8, and he does resolve to move on from her, but gets pulled back by Michael. They end up at the school board retreat. The staff game's hard to watch. I know you mentioned it being kind of fun filming the running scene, but for Ryan, like, how was it knowing the entertainment value it provided to the council and the board, and how did participating affect Ryan's decisions later on?
it, it just solidified it. You know, there was a missing piece, and he got it from being there. He really went through it, and this was like I said, he's been humiliated, and this was like a whole different. this was that on steroids. It was he really got to see these people for who they really were, and that's why he was so, he was like, yeah, I'm ready to fight for you, Yumeko. This is ridiculous. This is not just this school is it's something else, and yeah, it solidified his decision.
He does offer to hold the mattress, and he even gets into a bit of a physical altercation with Michael as well, which I thought was really interesting because he Michael initially kind of recruited Ryan to maybe try to stop Yumiko or convince her not to
Right.
kill. So how did you kind of see that play out? Because he does tell Michael that at the end of the day he will choose Yumiko, but was his intention initially to try to convince her murder wasn't the best option?
Was Ryan's intention to convince her? Yeah. I mean, the whole murder. I mean, seeing Ryan, seeing Michael there, grabbing Yumiko and just seeing that resistance, that in itself, he was just like, okay, no, like that's why he came in so strong. He was like, no, like that's not happening, and that's why he was fighting for her so much. And um, yeah, it's like he didn't really need an explanation. And anything in that moment that he saw just wasn't working for Yumiko. Anyone that was trying to get in the way of what Yumiko was trying to do, he was just there ready to cut it off.
He's like, that's my girl, like, don't touch her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he drives the getaway car and the two of them leaving the retreat. And she says, we're just getting started when he thinks that her mission has been completed with the death of Gabriel. And we don't see Ryan's reaction on screen, but in your eyes, like during filming, what were his immediate thoughts to her response?
Yeah, we don't see his reaction, but Ryan's reaction on the day, it was acceptance. It was him being there for her, him understanding and literally driving the getaway car to wherever she needs to go. And yeah, so wherever the next story starts after that, this is it's a Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, he's kind of all in at this point with her. So it would
Right.
be very interesting to see where we kind of start off in the future. And we'll talk about maybe your hopes for a second season. But first off, I wanted to talk about you working closely with both Miku and Eve as Yumiko
Mm.
and Mary. How were they as scene partners and playing with your characters' dynamics?
The absolute best. Like I don't think they could have casted a better person to play Mary or Yumiko. Miku and I'll start with Miku. She really brought the crazy to Yumiko, and she really brought the human as well. It was a beautiful collaboration of both, and you know, being able to play with such an experienced actor as well. She did Kate, and she did a whole bunch of other stuff. So she came in, really prepared, and it was so fun playing with being able to go back and forth and emotionally too. Like my favorite scene with Miku was probably either the episode 4, that scene where I'm rejecting her, or either the goodbye in episode 8. Those I really love those emotional scenes with Miku and Eve as well. Like, she she brought her A game. I'm sure the viewers are gonna love her playing Mary. She brought that crazy too, and she brought that realness. She's like really, really raw, really authentic, and it just relatable too. She's really funny. So that really it cracked me up on the day. But yeah, no, she's great.
Yeah, she's definitely her character is very like scrappy, very sassy,
Right.
and kind of someone has to kind of pull Ryan back, especially when he keeps pining after Yumeko as Mary
Yeah.
does. How was the St.
Yeah.
Dominic's prep scene to film, set to film at? Like, can you share any behind the scenes details about the school grounds or any of the specific rooms that they built?
Yeah, they built a really cool replica of U of T. We shot a lot at U of T. Right, for the outsides and some of the insides, the library and stuff. But we had a studio as well where they built a set, well, multiple. They built the main Met Gala forum and the bedrooms and some other places. But yeah, they matched it really well to U of T. And being in there, it was like, we're outside for a second, and then we step inside, and we're really like sucked into this whole world. And um, yeah, they made it really immersive, and it made it feel like you were at St. Dom's.
I know you also filmed the house pet hunt in the forest, and I spoke with Ryan, and he was mentioning that you were all scared of getting like ticks and stuff, and there was like a
Oh
whole meeting
my
and everything.
goodness.
But you spent a lot of time in that episode running around the forest.
That episode was oh, it was fun, but man, it was dreadful. It was like I was spraying my body with tick repellent, and mosquitoes are biting me, and you got dirt covered all over you. It was really the hunt, man. It was a hunt on set and in the film. Like it was really dirty and grimy. But hey, that added to the performance. It added to everything that we were feeling on the day.
For sure. Tell me about working with the cast. Do you have a favorite memory or two from filming and just being with everyone?
Yeah, the cast, everyone got along, and everyone was just so lovely, and we had a quite a big ensemble cast, and with filled with different personalities. So you sometimes it could be an expectation that some people might not, really jive with this person or really get along. But no, everybody it was really beautiful to see how everybody came together, and from different sides of the country, and you know to make something so beautiful together, and to get along, and to be hanging out outside set as well, and having a good time. So feel like our connection offset also made it really fun to watch, in the show.
What did you do together offset? Did you just like leave set and basically have dinners and things like that?
A lot of dinners, yeah. We had a lot of dinners together. We'd sometimes they come over. We have like charcuterie night, where we'd just have some charcuterie, some wine or whatever, and sometimes we play Dutch Blitz. Dutch Blitz was like our game, during shooting, and yeah, the Hunter brought that, and we get pretty riled up playing that game, and it really allowed us to just be feel safe with each other. And another one of the games that we played when we first met each other was a card game. It was kind of, I forgot the name of the game, but it's kind of like it has levels, and you get to know each other through what's written on the card. You get to ask each other questions, and that I think that really really helped us just feel more comfortable to with each other.
In real life, a similar cast version to Icebreaker, which we get to see in the show.
Exactly, yeah.
How was it working with Simon Barry and his creative vision for the show? Was it very collaborative?
It was very collaborative. He's super super experienced, with the success of his show Warrior Nun, and all the other work he's done. He you can really see that on our set, and he was very calm. Sometimes things on set, of course, it's a film set, things are gonna go wrong, and timing and this and that. But you'd always turn to Simon and see him just, calm. He's just like, okay, we'll get it done. Or, things are gonna be okay. You do this, you do this, and we're good. And so that also brought assurance to us, and we were able to, yeah, collaborate and bring ideas to him, and really get to explore our characters in unique ways, without limitations.
So given like what you just said, it's clear they had a lot of trust in you and the decisions that you
Yeah.
made for your character. Did you also feel the need or like did you have questions for Simon about your character, or did you kind of more so answer those questions yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Initially as well, I had a lot of questions about Ryan, a lot of holes to fill. Questions about his dad, questions about just a lot of background stuff, um, and questions about his relationship to Yumeko, and how I was really gonna approach that, and why he feels what he's feeling, and so we had a coffee one day, and then we just sat and really dived into it. But and the rest, was just taking that and building it for myself, and exploring it for myself.
If renewed for a second season, what would you like to explore with Ryan? And are there any other storylines for other characters that you would be excited to see more of?
I definitely would like to explore more of Ryan's past, and who knows, the thing with his dad might come to light. And yeah, a lot of his relationship, with Mary as well, and seeing seeing where seeing where the whole story goes, and of course at the end you find out that uh Yumeko's mom is still alive somewhere. So, seeing how that affects everything, seeing why, and finding out, getting to Ryan, getting to be with Yumeko, in finding out, and trying to, who knows, it might be like a trying to find your mother kind of season, but who knows, anything could happen. I'm excited.
It definitely would change the motivations of characters moving forward. Now,
Definitely.
being inspired by any popular, beloved manga would draw the attention of many. So, how conscious were you in the cast of this fact and wanting to do the source material justice, but balancing that with telling your own story and bringing something new to these characters?
I Yeah, of course this is a loved IP, and a lot of people love the anime as well, the live action anime. But yeah, it's important to know that ours is based off of, the manga, and it has its differences, and it's but a lot of what's told in our show can be found in the manga as well, with Yumeko's drive, and the whole thing with her parents and everything in volume 17. So yeah, it was it's always good to pay your respects and pay your homage by, doing research in the IP. But yeah, I think because it's also based on the manga, we're able to, like, we're more able to bring our own kind of taste to it. You know, Taking something that's like a two dimensional, making it three-dimensional, it's always you have more wiggle room.
I thought that you and the cast did a really phenomenal job in giving that depth to your characters and obviously setting the stage for potential future seasons. And I just loved how it balanced like kind of being grounded and emotional with the campy elements. So I'm really excited for everyone to see season one. You have another project coming out very soon, Clown in a Cornfield on May 9th, where you star as Tucker. How was your experience entering the slasher horror genre? And would you say you're a big fan of horror?
Love horror, man. I love, just as much as I'm scared to death of it. I love it. I love it. Friend was scary, man. That's what. So I can say on that, Friendo was scary, but filming on the day, it was just again, the cast was so good, so that's why we were able to just have so much fun. It was a horror comedy, so having that like true horror and true comedy aspect, and it was really fun, It was everybody was collaborative, and my character was kind of like a comedic relief, so really playing with that, and getting to literally every day just getting to have fun with my cast members. It was great.
So how ingrained is the image of Frendo the clown in your mind today? And was there any like rap gifts that had Frendo, like the face of Frendo on it?
Of course, there was Eli got us all. It was a little flask with a friendo face on it, and it was like Bay Pen corn syrup. Um, yeah, I think Frendo's face is quite ingrained into my retina, and especially because I had to, as you saw in the trailer, I had to wear the costume when I was like pranking my friends and everything. But so looking in the mirror sometimes and jumping was something that happened. But yeah, I love the Laura. She really designed it well, and it's a scary, scary mask.
What can you say about the phenomenal team you worked with? You just mentioned being able to laugh with your cast every day, but you had your director Eli, the crew, even the book's author Adam Caesar, who was involved. So, how did everyone's like guidance really help you with this project?
It was Eli was really collaborative too, and because it's a horror comedy, it was bring a lot of your own ideas to the script, and just have fun. That was the main thing. We just had to kind of course, like be in the moment and do your due diligence, but kind of turn your mind off and just be present and have fun. So being able to do that with Eli, and having castmates like Katie Douglas, Carson McCormick, Alexander Deacon, to really having them doing the same, it just everyone's just jiving and improving and just having a great time.
You had the world premiere at South by Southwest in March, and I know you just had like the New York premiere. So have those been really fun to kind of get on the red carpet, come together,
Yeah.
and celebrate the film.
Yeah, it was so fun. It was like you see, even like seeing all the turnout, and how many people showed up to the premiere. I was like, it was great. It's looking like people really, really enjoy this film, and they're appreciating it in the way that it's meant to be appreciated. It's a really fun watch, and coming together on that day, just you know having our group photos, and it was really cool just to finally celebrate all the hard work we've done, and this has been a 2-year journey. We filmed it in 2023, so it's been quite a while, but yeah, finally coming together for this release. It was really, really rewarding.
How was your time in the cornfield for that one?
I actually wasn't in the I don't know if it's a spoiler, but
This will be out after Connor and
this would be
Cornfield is
after.
also
Okay,
out,
great. I
so
wasn't in the cornfield. Nah, I was by the time they got into the cornfield, like mid movie, I was definitely executed. Um, Friendo got me, man. Friendo got me. As sad as it
massive
may,
spoiler alert.
massive. But this is this it comes out after. Spoiler alert for anyone that's watching. But yeah, it was. But we did have time, like in the Bay Pen factory, and um, that was really scary as well. And it's on the day you're like, oh, filming a horror movie obviously you think you're not gonna get scared. It's just like you have a bunch of crew around, you have the director, but it's really it's really spooky because it's kind of, especially the Bay Pen factory scene. It was really dark. It was really gloomy. There was like a bunch of like ominous noises in the background, and Frendo was like there, just you're just seeing this like this clown just smiling ear to ear. It's just how can you not be scared, you know? But yeah, no, it was super fun.
It's like you know he's coming, but you're still never fully prepared.
Yeah, you're still never fully prepared. You can prepare as much as you want, but like it's still a clown. You know what I mean? It's a killer clown.
I'm sorry to hear that you don't survive, but I think the survival rates in these movies are kind of low, so it's
They're
a
kind of
dice
low.
roll.
They're kind of low. There are a few survivors, you know, but yeah, the Frendo did his thing on this one.
Getting into your filmmaking as we round things out, you wrote, produced, starred in, and co-directed the short film The Island. So what can you share about this project and your passion for also being behind the camera?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this project I made right after filming Clown. And you know, I was just looking to you know do my own thing and collaborate with people in my community and just you know just make our own thing. And yeah, so the island is it's around like a personal experience that I had, you know, where um well, let me just say the story is about choices that you make and the consequences for those choices, you know, and um it was really cold. It was really cold filming on the day. We shot it up in northern Winnipeg in Lake Winnipeg. And yeah, it was like this was in February, so we shot it on the ice because we tried to get this to look like a you know a snowy icy island, right? But we shot it on the ice, and you know immediately when we shot a scene we run to the heating tent, you know, and but you know having the performances feel so real because of that was an advantage that we took. So yeah, it was the people that worked on it were really great. You know, everyone was so like passionate, ambitious, and you know that's why we're making it, trying to tell a cool story.
What's the runtime for it?
The runtime, it's 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Yeah, it was kind of aimed to be shorter than that, but there were so many things that were just like had to be in it, you know, and we didn't want to kind of cut the story or just make something not make sense. And you know, this of course this is my first time editing, so it's like seeing seeing the beats. You know, you can't. There are some beats that you just can't cut out or make sure because it's gonna lose the feel. You know, so we're like, you know what? Yeah, it has to be this. It has to be 25 minutes. But yeah, this it's still in editing, and we're you know, everything has been kind of delayed because of everything that's been going on. But I'm hoping to release it this year. Yeah.
So genre-wise, it's drama, sci-fi, I believe. And there was a teaser posted on the socials for The Island and some kind of bloody rock and some kind of bloody maybe human being on the ground. It was very unsettling, but very intriguing as well.
It was that was the scene between me and the Suleiman who plays Damon, Daniel, sorry. And yeah, it was a lot of blood, a lot of killing, I'll say.
I'm excited to see it when you are finished in the editing stage. I'm sure, like you mentioned, it's your first kind of project, so there's always like that learning period as well, right? When you're trying
Mhm.
to make sure that you're very proud of what you put out there.
Exactly, exactly. You know, and this is like it's the first film. So um, you know, it's a learning experience, you know, and I hope to do more in the future.
I have one more question for you, our signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Oh wow. Any ice cream flavor. I don't want to say something boring like vanilla, you know, but I do like vanilla. I will say. However, I'd have to say mint chocolate chip, like a mint ice cream, because initially you see it and you're like, is it really good? But then when you taste it, like it's amazing. It has layers to it. So yeah, mint chocolate chip.
I like it. Great answer. And from a starving boy in a production of Oliver to a lead in a Netflix series, so much more on the horizon for you. I'm very happy for you and the people in your life who got you to where you are. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. I love the questions. I appreciate the chat.
Hopefully, we can catch up again in the future. But until
Definitely.
then, for all those watching, you can make sure to catch Ayo in Bet. Season one is out on Netflix now. Clown in a Cornfield is also in theaters, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.